Good morning, AJ and Zenday.
Morning.
How's it going with everyone?
Pretty good. Folks were out and
Good.
about, and I had the whole house to myself.
Nice. All right. Make sure we mark who's here. I see Amanda and Boucher and AJ and Zenday and Angelina and Aaron here and Valerie. All right. So, how'd your weekend go? Pretty good? We're going to do a mindfulness Monday in a minute, but I want to wait till more people get here so they're not ding dong in the doorbell when we're trying to do what we need to do. Let me get to the right place. So we'll do a warm up first. Thanks for letting me know, Amanda. So let's do this warm up first. Two banks are offering different investment opportunities. Bank A offers an account that pays 7% interest compounded quarterly. Bank B offers an account that pays 6.95% interest compounded daily. Find the APY, round to 4 decimal places, and say which one is the better investment opportunity. And I should have this on a handout as well. So try that. When you have your answers, you can just privately chat me those. And after a few more minutes, we'll do our Mindfulness Monday. Anybody need the TVM solver in the chat? You can put it there if you need it. Oh, we don't need it for this one, right? But you might need it later. You just need the formula for APY for this one. There's an APY formula in the chat if you need it. Got my first answer and it's right. Great job. Another right answer. Hooray. Another right one. Hooray. We're 3 for 3 so far. Good job. I'll give you about 2 more minutes. You should have the formula that you're working on, and it's just like you were doing on your homework, to 4 decimal places this time, and make sure there's a percent sign. All right. Perfect timing, Amanda. So I'm going to show you the answer on the next slide, and you can compare if you got the same thing. So bank B would be the better investment, which is 7.1965. So make sure you rounded correctly. And Bank A isn't far off. Bank A is 7.1859. So Bank B is the better option because it had the higher APR. Sorry, APY. Okay. Which, if you notice from the original problem, it had the lower APR, right? But a higher APY. So that's what we want to remember. Any questions on how I got those? Those of you I didn't get answers from, do you understand? All right. There's usually only one of those on the quiz, right? It's not super exciting. It's one question. It'll specifically say, find the APY. So you should be able to go to your formula sheet and know exactly which formula to use, right? Yes, if you're investing, then you're always going to choose the APY that's higher. If you're being charged interest because you borrowed money, then you would want the lower APY. So it's going to depend on how the question is worded. Okay, so if you're getting paid, then you will want the higher APY. If you're getting charged, then you would want the lower APY. Does that make sense, Jenday? Good, excellent. All right, so we're going to do our Mindfulness Monday, and then we'll talk about annuities, which you did your textbook reading on. Did you do your mini lesson last night? I can't remember. Or is that due tonight? Let me look. Oh, your mini lesson is due tonight. So just your reading quiz was due last night. Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing here so I can share my other screen so you'll be able to hear. This one's a little bit longer. It's about resilience. I don't think we've done it before, but if we have, sorry, but it'll be great. It's a great reminder of what things we need to do right now.
Thank you for joining me for this 5-minute guided meditation to practice resiliency and focus on peace and healing. As always, let's begin by finding a quiet and peaceful place to meditate and assume a comfortable upright position. Closing your eyes, as you take in 3 deep breaths, bring in awareness. Breathe in and feel the oxygen fill your lungs as your chest expands. Breathe out, feel your chest fall. Breathing in, become aware of the weight of your head as it sits comfortably on your shoulders. Breathing out, let your shoulders relax as you pay tribute to each part of your body. Acknowledge your arms, your hands, your fingers. As you breathe, recognize your chest, your stomach, your posterior. Move down to your legs, your feet, and your toes, and find peace in the knowledge you are whole and safe where you are right now. Continue with your breath and repeat these phrases to yourself. I will be kind to myself today. I will find peace and healing today. I am doing the best that I can in this moment. I will accept that change is a part of life. I have hope for the future. Life right now may not be what we planned. There is disappointment and sadness, but there is also love and light and hope. Practicing compassion to ourselves and to others will help us overcome. Whatever disappointment or sadness that has taken up space in your mind, let it go and repeat the phrases. I will be kind to myself today. I will find peace and healing today. I am doing the best that I can in this moment. I will accept that change is a part of life. I have hope for the future. Feel the peace and calm all around you. And take in a deep breath as you start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Move your head from side to side. When you're ready, open your eyes and carry this compassion for yourself and others with you throughout your day. Thank you.
All right. So it was by the same people who did our video the other day, but I think it was a little bit different. I liked that one. I needed that one this morning. We are going to change gears now and jump into annuities. So what is an annuity? So most of us aren't able to put a large sum of money in the bank today. Instead, we save by depositing a smaller amount of money from each paycheck into the bank. This is called a savings annuity, and this is how most retirement accounts work. So in this class, we're going to assume that you put in equal amounts of money into the account on a regular schedule every month, year, quarter, etc. And then you just let it sit there earning interest. So an annuity is something you should start thinking about now if you have any kind of income, right? So if you make any amount of money, you should start putting money aside from each paycheck because you're going to see how much that grows later. Now, interest rates on what you're earning are not very high, you know? Like you're not usually earning a lot. So sometimes in this class, they kind of manufacture the interest rate you're earning, and it's going to be a lot higher than reality, just so you know. So like sometimes our problem says you're earning 9% interest. I don't know when that would happen. Like maybe if you're in the stock market and there's some crazy growth, but over the longevity, usually the interest rate is pretty low. but just for our examples to make sure we understand, that's how you're going to see how things grow. Okay. So, oh, look at these formulas. Are you crying yet when you see them? They're a little overwhelming when you look at them, but I provided you them in different arrangements so you could see and you wouldn't have to do so much algebra. Okay. So I'm going to put these in the chat for you. These are just your formulas for annuities. Okay. And there's 3 of them. Take a look at them. The first one says future value, which would also be A, right, equals this amount. Now we have payment. This is our new piece. So you're paying yourself. That's what we're talking about right now, because you're putting money in a savings account for yourself. So the payment is equal to the future value divided by all of those things. And then the other thing we can solve for is present value, okay, or PV. So you can imagine these different scenarios. One of the scenarios would say you want to have $1 million in your retirement account when you retire. How many of you, that would be nice if you had $1 million in your retirement account? None of you want $1 million? Okay, Yesenia agreed. Aaron agreed. Olivia just laughed like, yeah, that'd be nice, but I'm so young right now, I can't even think about that, right? I get it. Okay, AJ's finally on board. He'll take $1 million. Okay, so what that first value, that first formula figures out is how much would you have to put in an account on whatever basis you choose. Like how much would you have to put in each year or each month or each quarter, given some certain interest rate, and how long until you retire, right? So if I'm doing it compared to you doing it, my T value would be much smaller, right? Because I'm going to retire sooner than you, or at least I hope so, right? I mean, maybe you will retire very, very quickly. I don't know. So that would be scenario 1, right, where it says FV. Whereas PMT, it would say how much, if I know, wait a minute, did I phrase that incorrectly, that first one? Yeah, that first one I really phrased like the second one. So how much would I have to put in an account each year? That's really this one, right? Because that's finding my payment. My future value is how much will I have in an account if I put in, let's just say $100 a month, right? For how long? That's what that first equation would be. And then the second, the very last one, okay, is how much would I need in an account now to grow to a certain amount, okay? So let's look at these different scenarios. And this should be on the worksheet that I already put in the chat. Does anyone need me to put it in the chat again? Maybe Olivia, I'm not sure if you were here, and sometimes it just gets lost in the chat. So let me put that in the chat again, and it'll be on the screen, but just sometimes it's nice to have it so you could read it again if I scroll away. So you're going to deposit $1,000 each year into an account earning 8% compounded annually. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And it says, how much will you have in the account in 10 years? So that's what we're trying to figure out. So we're trying to figure out how much we will have in our account in 10 years. Now, these formulas are kind of not fun to work with. You can do it, and we will, but we could also use the TVM solver, okay? So I'm going to show you both ways, and you decide. But remember, it's important that we know what we're trying to figure out. So we want to know how much we will have in the account in 10 years. So if we're trying to figure out how much we're going to have in our account later, which one of these formulas do you think we need to use? Do we need to use the formula for FV, which is also A, the formula for payment or PMT, or the formula for present value or PV? Get it ready in the chat. Which one of these do we need? Do we need FV? Do we need PMT? Or do we need PV? So just put one of those 3 in the chat. You don't have to put the whole formula in there, right? Just the letters we're looking for. I'll give you about 10 seconds to think about it. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Nice. FV. So I'm telling you, it sounds really silly, but that's probably the hardest thing to do is figure out what you're solving for. Okay? Because there's lots of words in the problem sometimes. So if we're going to use FV and we write this formula out, we're going to say I'm going to write it up here because it might not fit right there. FV equals payment times 1 plus R over T, R over N, that's an R, to the N times T power. That might look familiar to you, right? That's the formula for compound interest right there. Minus 1 divided by R over N. So if I plug into that formula, I'm just going to call on random people to fill in these blanks for me. So what would PMT, what would I put for PMT in this formula? Olivia, any idea what number I would put there?
Is it 1,000?
It is because it's happening each year. I know it's 1,000. I know that it's my payment because I'm doing it more than once. Okay, before we just had it as our principal, like I just deposited $1,000, but this we're doing every single year. So that's $1,000. Good job. Okay, and then what is our R? Deshay, what is our R in this case?
Is 8%, or it'd be 0.00 or 0.08.
Very nice. It's our interest rate. So it's the one that's our percent. So it's 0.08. Perfect, Deshay. Okay, so now what is our N? What is our N, Amanda?
Would it be 1 because it's compounded annually, or?
That's perfect. Yes, it's still the same. N is going to represent the number of times it's compounded in a year. So good job. Now we're going to do minus 1. Now we only have to put in the same thing we already did, 0.08 divided by, oops, N should be 1. Any questions on where I got those values? Is everybody okay on that?
Also on there, do we need to add that N times T?
Oh, yeah, right here. Thank you. N times T, yeah, and N was 1 and T was, thanks, Aaron, what's our time?
The 10 or 10 years.
Very nice, 10 years. Thank you so much, because we would have gotten the wrong answer if we didn't put it in right. Okay, so we can do it in our Desmos calculator, right? I think Desmos is the easiest calculator to use. If you like yours, that's totally fine. Let's see if I can find our Desmos. And let's put it in. We have 1,000. And if you use the same parentheses that I have, it should work out very nicely. 1,000 times, and then I'm going to put a fraction, and I'm going to put a parentheses, 1 plus 0.08. Everybody should be trying it on their calculator so they make sure they know how to push the buttons correctly, right? It sounds silly, but it makes a huge difference. And then I'm going to arrow over -1, end my parentheses in the numerator. In the denominator, I'm going to put 0.08 divided by, oops, pretty funny. 0.08 divided by 1, end my parentheses. And my answer is right there. And my answer ends up being $14,486 Now, let's think about what this means. Did everybody get that on their calculators, by the way? Did you get $14,486.56? Anyone not get that? Anyone have calculator issues? All right, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to write in that amount, $14,486.56. Okay, now I want you to think about this. We'll do it with the TVM solver in just a minute. How much money did you put into the account? Not earn off interest, but how much money did you put into the account? Everybody think about that and see if you can figure it out. All right, so any volunteers to tell me how much money you put in the account? Angelina, Ashley, Jenday, Valerie?
It was, if you deposit 1,000 each year and it's 10 years, wouldn't it be $10,000?
Very nice. So if you do $1,000 each year times 10 years, you have put in $10,000. Excellent. Now, you have more than $10,000 in your account, right? Where'd that other money come from? How'd you get that extra money?
Isn't it the 8% that's compounded?
Yeah, it's that interest you earned. So on this last question where it says how much interest will you have earned, if you take that $14,486.56 and subtract off that $10,000, you will have the amount of interest you earned, which was $4,486.56. Does everybody understand how we did that? So right now we're making money for ourselves. Now, we could have done this on the TVM solver. Yeah, we could have. I'm going to write our little TVM key over here. If we had the TVM solver, the first thing we have is capital N. What would you have put in for capital N? Remember, that is lowercase n times t. So that would be this part right here. So we're just going to put in 10. Does that make sense? Then the next thing is I, remember it's a percent, so we just put in an 8. We don't put in 0.08, okay? And then PV, we don't have anything in the account to start with, right? We have nothing in there. We're just gonna put in our payment, which is gonna be negative $1,000 because we're putting that in every month, $1,000. That's why I made it negative. And then FV, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to leave that one alone. And then PY and CY are both going to be equal to 1. Okay, so I'm going to put the time value money solver in the chat for you in case you don't have it. And again, I don't care if you use the formula or if you use the TVM solver, but it's good to know how to do it both of those ways. So if I pull up that TVM solver and I put in 10, and you should be doing this too, so you can see that you can get the answer either way. Our payment is going to be negative 1,000. And then our PY and our CY are 1, and I click solve. Do you notice I get the exact same thing? $14,486.56. Nice. So which way do you like better? Do you like the TVM solver? Or do you like the formula? I don't care.
I have a question on, so on the TVM for mine, when I press future value, it just comes up with NAN. And then in the box at the top, it says FE is not a valid entry.
Do you have numbers in all your other boxes?
Oh, yeah, I can read it out. For in, I have 10, interest, I have 8, PV, I left it blank. PMT,
You have to have a value in there. You probably have to have 0 in there.
Oh, okay, cool.
Put a 0 in there and see if it fixes it.
No, it still has NAN.
Okay, so you put in a 0 for PV. What'd you put in for payment?
Negative 1,000.
Okay, and you put in 1 for PY and CY?
Yeah.
And what was in?
Never mind. Now it's there. Cool.
Nice. Yeah,
Thank you.
I don't know. Sometimes it's just wants a 0, you know, in the values before you click on it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Anyone else having trouble with either the formula or the TVM solver? All right. So these problems are similar to what we're doing, but now we're talking about making money for ourselves. How many of you are thinking, gosh, I wish I could retire right now? Anyone? Some of you are like, I haven't even started working yet. I can't think about retiring, right? Some of you are like, oh, okay. So this is the perfect scenario for you. And some of our problems and more are customized to you, right? Like you can say, okay, how long till I retire? So you can say, oh, I'd really like to retire at 50, right? And if I retire at 50 and I'm going to start working in 2 years, how many years will I have to work? And then what's a reasonable interest rate that I think I'm going to get, right? Which it ain't 8. Let me tell you, it's probably way less than 8. I would say 2 or 3, right? So, but it's nice. So you can start planning now and you can think, well, I don't know that I could swing $1,000 right now a year, but maybe when I start working, right, and making more money, I'll be able to do it. So what I did on these slides is I showed you both ways to do it. So here I have my formula, and over here I have the TVM solver. So in case you're reviewing these slides later and you're like, I am not getting that answer, you can look at either the formula or the TVM solver, whichever method you're using, and see where you're making a mistake, okay? So I tried to put in both of those in all these slides. Okay, so now look at this one. Now we're putting $100 in, but we're putting it in each month, and we're earning 6% compounded monthly. And it says, how much will you have in the account in 15 years? How much money will you have put in the account? And how much interest will you have earned? I don't care which you use, if you use the formula or if you use the TVM solver, but try that one. And when you get an answer, type it directly to me in the chat, okay? And I will just wait patiently while you work. I'm getting some answers and a lot of them are really too high. Are you sure you're doing n, lowercase n if you're using the formula should be 12? AJ, are you using the formula or the TVM solver?
Formula.
Okay. And so in the formula, did you just copy what you did before using Desmos?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go away from this screen. How many of you are using Desmos? The formula. Okay, a couple of you. Aaron, did you use TVM or Desmos?
I use TVM, but I figured out what I did wrong.
Okay, good. Well, it was funny because you gave your answer and then someone else gave their answer and it was almost exactly the same. And I was like, okay. So, oh, my formula went away. Did I just clear it? That's annoying. So, AJ, are you using all the parentheses?
Yeah.
So, does yours look, oops. Hold on, I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Why does it hate me right now? I don't know if it'll care if I have that empty gray box. AJ, do you have everything I have so far?
Yeah.
And you have parentheses in your denominator?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't like that gray box right there for sure. Do you have any weird gray boxes in yours?
No.
Look at Aaron, rock star. Good job. Okay, so this is the
I think
value you should. What
I think I
happened,
see what I
AJ?
did wrong. It was the
Tell us what you did wrong, so because somebody else will do the same thing.
it was the dates, the 12 and the 15. I minus them instead of actually multiplying them from what I see.
Ah, yeah. So make sure you multiply those two.
I see.
And so Olivia, yours was off by a little. I mean, not a little, but your numbers were close. Do you know where you went wrong?
I'm trying to look right now. I can't really,
Are you using the formula or TVM?
the formula.
Okay. And Desmos just like mine?
I know what I did. The 100 on mine isn't like by itself. It was like, I think that's what's wrong.
Yeah, it needs to be like out front, like not part of that fraction. All right. So this is why we're doing it together, so we can correct any of these strange things that come up. How about the rest of you? Amanda, Yesenia, Deshay. Oh, Deshay had the right answer. Angelina, Ashley, Valerie, Jenday. Are you doing okay? Because it's really a matter of calculator button pushing, right? Like it's making sense of it. But if you can't push the buttons on your calculator right, you're going to get the wrong answer and you're going to be super annoyed when you're doing your more homework. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, I had when I was putting in the formula on my calculator, I had to be careful because I know the parentheses, if I do it wrong, it says error. So that's like a huge thing on my end is using the calculator. I have to be really careful. And if I mess up, I have to like do it all over again.
Yeah, I totally agree. So the other way you can do it, oh, I don't know why I went away from there, is in the TVM solver. Now you got to do a little bit of math by yourself, right? So on a calculator, you have to do like 12 times 15, which is 180. So you have to put 180 in here. We're now at 6%, I think. We have nothing in there so far, but we're going to put $100 in a month. And we're going to put PY and CY. It probably wants a 0 there to start. And if I click solve, notice I get the same answer, right? So what's the hard thing? Because boy, the TVM solver seems easier than typing in all of that formula. The hard part is knowing which goes in which blank, right? Because if you put it in the wrong blank, it's like choosing the wrong formula. So it's not just an arithmetic error, it's a conceptual error. Whereas if you pick the formula and you just plug the numbers in wrong, at least you picked the formula right, yeah, because you know which formula is appropriate. So most students like the TVM solver better, but they often put things in the wrong place. Okay, so you have to be real careful. Okay, so now we have the answer to part A. See if you can find the answer to part B, because the answer to part A was $29,081.87. So see if you can find the answer to part B. Think about how much money you're putting in. Olivia and Aaron, great job. Nice job, Amanda. Good job, AJ. Jashay, did you fix that part B? Okay. Angelina, Ashley, Valerie, and Jenday, I need answers from you. Good job, Deshay. Good job, Angelina. Good job. Okay, so on part B, Ashley, how do you find how much money you've put in the account?
You would plug it into the formula with the would it be the 100 and then parentheses?
So you put $100 each month, and you did that for 15 years. So you put in $100, and then how many months are in a year?
12.
And then you did that for 15 years. So you multiply all of those together. And when you multiply all of those together, you get $18,000. So you put in $18,000. But good news, your bank account has $29,081.87 in it. Yeah? So how are you going to figure out how much interest you have earned? Because that $18,000 is your money that you put in. Anything over that will be what you made off the interest. So Jenday, any idea on what you do on this last one, part C?
Would you take the amount of how much is in the account, count in 15 years and put that to
Take that and then do what with it?
and put it together?
Do you get $18,000 and this?
No.
So you're going to subtract them instead of add them. So
Yeah.
subtract, there you go. And you'll get a total of
I made it
11.
sound like you were adding.
Yeah, you have $11,081.87. That's not bad, right?
No,
You
that's not
made
bad.
a lot of money, $11,000.
Mm-hmm.
Good, excellent. So does that make sense how you do that? All right, so the next one is a different scenario. Let's read this next question. This should be on your worksheet too. You want to have $500,000 for retirement in 20 years. Your account earns 10% interest compounded monthly. How much do you need to deposit into the account each month? So how much do you need to deposit in the account each month? That's the question. So now if we go way back here to our formulas, what are we looking for? It says, how much do we need to deposit each month? So which formula do we want to use for this? Or what are we solving for, in other words? Let's get that ready in the chat. Either put either put FV, PMT or payment, or PV. What are we looking for in this problem? It says, how much would you need to deposit into the account each month? Okay, so get that ready. In 3, 2, 1, go. There we go. Excellent. That, you guys, I'm telling you, that what you just did, that's the hardest thing to do, right? When you're taking the test, that's the hardest part, is to go, what am I looking for? Yes, when it says, how much do you need to deposit each month or each year or each whatever quarter, then it's going to be this middle formula right here. Okay, so you can put that, all that information in that middle formula, or if you're using the TVM solver, you're going to solve for PMT, right? So I'll write that formula down, and we'll try to make sure we get all our numbers in the right place and all our parentheses in the right place. So PMT equals future value divided by, look at that, 3 parentheses. Did you see that? 1 plus R over N to the N times T minus 1 divided by R over N and your parentheses. So, and we'll do it with the TVM solver too, and then I'll let you figure it out both ways and make sure you get the right answer. So first, when we use this formula, what is FV? What is FV? Angelina, what value would I put right here for FV?
Is it the 500,000?
You got it, $500,000, because that's how much we want in the account. Good job. And then 1 plus, what is our interest rate in this case, Jende? What's our interest rate?
%10.
Yeah, so as a decimal, we're going to put 0.10. And then what's our N in this case, Yesenia?
Would it be 12?
Yep, because it's compounded monthly. Perfect. Okay, and then we have our 12 times our time. This time is 20 years. So 12 times 20 minus 1. Oops, I don't know why I use that square one right here. Divided by 0.10 divided by 12. And so if we're using the TVM solver, our N is going to be 12 times 20, which is the same as 240, right? Our I is going to be 10. Our, I can never remember what's next. Our PV is going to be 0. Our PMT is what we're looking for. Our FV is the 500,000. And then our PY and CY are going to be 12. So do it both ways, the formula and the TVM solver, and make sure you can get the right answer. And send me your answer. I'm getting a lot of right answers. That's awesome. Check it both ways on the formula and the TVM. If you sent me an answer and I said it was wrong, check it on the other one and see if you can get a different answer. All right, I'm getting the answers from some of you. From some of you, I'm not getting any answers, and I'm not sure why. Because literally all you're doing is pushing buttons on the calculator. I did all the hard part, right? We did all the hard part together. Aaron, great job. You did it. Excellent. You had to think a lot on that one. That's important. It sounds silly, but it is really important. Okay, so on part A, when you plugged all that in, you should get, actually that's a little bit high. You should get $655. Oh, sorry, $658.44. So Ashley, check it on, did you use TVM or the formula?
I used the formula, but I might have multiplied something wrong or divided something wrong.
Yeah, so try TVM and see if you get a different answer. That, for me, that's a great way to do it. Do it both ways. I'm much more likely to make a mistake on the formula than I am on the TVM solver. Just so you know, it's just too many parentheses going on. Unless I've already saved it like this. If I already have it in there like this, then I'm okay changing numbers. But the first time I put it in, I'm very likely to make a mistake. I don't know about you guys. There's too many things going on there. So I really like the TVM solver. Okay, so now, how will you do part B of this? How much money will you have put in the account? Well, you need to get part A right to get part B right. Yeah, because part B, you'll say, okay, well, how much am I putting in the account each, is it month? Yeah, each month for 12 months a year and then for 20 years. So you're going to put your payment, whatever you found for part A, times 12 times 20. And so in our case, we had 658.44 times 12 times 20, because that's how much you put in the account. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Does everybody understand where that came from? Aaron and Val, good job. They're still chatting me the answers, which is awesome. Okay. So you put in $658.44 times 12 times 20, which would be $158,000. Sorry, $158,025.60. So then on the last part, how much interest will you have earned? Well, you have to take your 500,000 that's in the account minus 158,025.60, and you will get $341,974.40. That's awesome. You made like twice as much as you put in your account, right? In interest. Do you see? Like, because you only put in $158,000, but you earned in interest $341,000. Now, this interest rate is a little unrealistic, this 10%. Remember, we talked about that. But I just wanted you to see what would happen. Okay. So if you wanted to have $500,000 in your retirement account in 20 years, and you know you can earn 10% compounded monthly, you need to put in $658.44 each month. So you're thinking to yourself, are you kidding me right now? How am I going to put almost $700 in the account each month? Someday you'll have a paycheck, right? That makes you some money, and you can think about how much can you put in the account. Any questions on this example? Is that okay? Remember, I have your formula and I have your TVM solver here too. Okay, this might be a little more reasonable. You want to have $3,000 in 2 years to buy a stereo. How much do you need to deposit each quarter into an account paying 8% compounded quarterly? Now, do you see how we're still solving for the same thing? We're still solving for payment. Yeah, so this one's a little bit different, just different numbers. But if you have your formula already in there, you can just change the numbers, right? Okay, so see if you can do A, B, and C. And if you're struggling, then send me some questions in the chat or ask them out loud so I can make sure I can help you. Okay, I'm getting some correct answers. Good. All right, it seems like some of you are figuring out where you're making your mistakes. So some of you I'm not hearing from at all. I don't know what's going on there, right? So make sure you're asking me questions or whatever you need. Some of you, if you're using the formula and you're getting stuck, try using the TVM solver and see if you get the right answer, okay? In case you're a little worried because you're like, not doing so hot today. Tomorrow, we're going to do more of this. And we're doing two-part ones. So you'll notice if you work ahead and you're in your your PF7 homework, you might notice that some of them say, first I do this and then I do this. So that's a two-part problem, and that's what we're going to be looking at tomorrow. Okay. So it's more of annuities tomorrow. Okay, so this is what you should get for part A, $349.53. And I have both the formula and the TVM solver up here for you. Then how much money will you have put in the account? You've put in almost all of it. Did you notice that? I guess you did earn 200 bucks. So that was 200 bucks you didn't have to save, right? So do you see the shorter period of time, obviously the smaller amount of money that you're going to make. So any questions about this one? Do you notice how all this is, like a lot of the things are going to come again and again and again. It's just practice is what you need. Thinking through the problems and practicing, right? Okay, so what do you got going on? You have your mini lesson that's due tonight. It's 12 points. You have your practice that's due tomorrow night. And then we're going to talk about payout annuities, which payout annuities are fun too. Okay, so right now we're saving towards, so we're seeing how much money we have to save each time. When we get to payout annuities, that's after you retire and you want to take money out of your retirement. Yeah, so this is a nice way to look at it. And then, so just take a look. This Thursday, we're going to talk about your final projects again, okay? So make sure you look at that. Amanda, so frustrating. One little thing and then you're wrong, right? Yeah, so be real careful. If you're not writing down these things like this, I highly recommend you write that down. So then when you're struggling with a more problem and you're getting it wrong, you can send me a message and say, this is what I'm putting in for my TVM, right? Or my formula, what am I doing wrong? And I can help you. Okay, so I'll put the exit ticket in the chat. Make sure we have so little left. We got to make it through, right? Some of you want a certain grade. So make sure you really are working hard and getting help if you're stuck on anything, because I'm happy to help. Okay, we don't have much left. If you're struggling on what you should do for the project, come and meet with me. We can probably narrow it down in just a few minutes. You know, we'll just talk about it because I've seen a lot of it before. We can talk about it and then you can make a decision on what you're going to do and you can get started on that. All right, do your exit ticket and I will see you tomorrow. I think my answer on the exit ticket might be wrong. I think I put in the wrong end. 4%, $1,000 each quarter. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me see what your answers are. Don't type your answer and hit enter yet. I'm going to change the answer and see. Oh, I have the right answer in there. Yeah, we're good. I was looking at people's answers instead of my answers. Not a good plan. Yeah, the answer is right. You can go ahead and enter whenever you want. Yes, Amanda, good job.
When is the quiz for all of this material?
Next week, not this week, but next week.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. I suspect you put in the wrong values for some. Would you put it? Are you using TVM or the formula, Olivia?
I use the formula.
Okay. So on the formula, what were you solving for?
Okay, I did the is it wait, was this compound interest?
This is annuities. So this is PF7, and you should have used the formula for future value.
Okay, I used it completely wrong. I don't know why I thought we were doing compound, even though we just spent the whole class doing annuities.
No. And I think it's true because in the problem, it does say compounded quarterly. But the key difference here is when it says $1,000 each quarter, every time, if you make multiple payments, that automatically makes it an annuity.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how you know to use the PF7 formula for future value. And you can do it again and change your answer. It'll let you.
Okay. I'm going to work through that. Thank you.
Yep, no worries.
Sorry.
Good job, Aaron.
Thank you.
Yep, good work
All right.
today.
Thank
I'll see you tomorrow.
Will do. Bye.